Hi everyone, welcome to Colorbar. I'm Kim Updike here with Betsy Davis.
Hi, Kim.
Hi Betsy, how are you?
I was not going to say amazing anymore.
Okay.
So you know what? I'm good.
You're good?
I'm really good.
All right. I'm glad to hear that. I know you've been being a road warrior lately, been traveling all over.
Man, after next week, it will be, I think, 5 or 6 weeks that I've been on the road.
Been on the road?
At some point, yeah.
Get a little bit of a break coming up?
Yes, I am hopefully on a break all through April. So depending on when this shows, but regardless,
Yes.
be on the road, and then I'm going to go celebrate my 50th birthday.
Very
So
fun.
that is the next time
All
that I
right.
will be on the road, is
right.
celebrating the big 5-0.
All right, where are we celebrating?
We're going to go to the BVI's, me and 24 of my closest friends and family.
Yay, how
And we're
fun.
going to just island hop for a few days. So
That's awesome.
We're super excited about it. Everybody's getting body ready, some, bikini ready. The boys are working out. Everybody's doing all the things in preparation. So
A lot of gym memberships this month.
a lot of gym memberships, tanning booth memberships, the boys maybe even some waxing memberships. So all the things.
All the things. We got to be beach body ready.
That's right.
Ready to roll in the
That's right.
BVI's.
But I am ready to be home and have a break and get some work done, and yeah. So
Well, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
that's all very exciting.
Yeah.
And also very exciting is our guest today, our very own Allie Watt.
Allie Watt. Everybody's heard about Allie, as we've talked about her on Colorbar, and now we have her here in the flesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, welcome, Allie. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Colorbar Universe, finally.
Yes, yes, the Colorbar universe. And excited for today's conversation. You know, we've been talking about the next generation of talent, what that looks like, in the marketplace, just, how they want to grow, what they see in companies, what they're looking for, and just, all things that we've been talking about at Sandy Alexander, everything from recruitment to retaining to mentoring. So excited to just kind of jump in. And Allie's been with us. She's our marketing manager now.
Now marketing manager.
Woo-hoo!
Promo.
Little shout out.
A little
Yes.
promo. 3 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it, 3 years.
Wow.
It goes
3
by.
years?
It goes by really fast.
It goes by really, really fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now I have to say this really quickly before we get started, because I was recently at the Women in Restaurant Leadership event,
Yes.
and we sponsored the awards dinner, and one of them was Rising Star, and it was to recognize, young talent that are doing something. And I'm on stage doing it. I start crying because I look at one of our other Rising Stars, because I think Allie is 1,000%
Absolutely.
a
Yep.
rising star with us. We were talking about this yesterday. But then Jessica Horner, who's on our team, was sitting in the audience, and I was like, how you just have those people that you just see something in, and next thing you know, I'm crying, and Jessica's crying, all these things. But if Allie would have been in the audience, I probably really would have been
Crying.
in a complete boohoo moment, because we do just have some really talented stars on the team, and Allie's
absolutely.
definitely one of those. And so as we've been talking about it, Allie's like, we have all these things, like there's all these misconceptions, and there's all these things that we want to do to help the business. And so let's get you on Colorbar and let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So Allie, 3 years in, what is it compared to what you thought it was going to be 3 years ago, whenever you joined Sandy?
Yeah, honestly, I've said this before, my expectations were pretty open-ended. I wasn't entirely sure what I was walking into, especially as my path started pointing towards print. I started with Outback as an intern, brand intern specifically, and I never would have thought I'd land in print. I'm a dining kid. I grew up in the dining industry, and just coming out of college, there isn't a lot of visibility into print for the younger generation. So it's not really something you think about. Like, maybe I'll go into sports, maybe I'll go into, retail, dining. So I never would have guessed this is where I would land. The reality, though, has been amazing. I genuinely love what I do, the projects, the creativity, and the fact that I get to work across all those different industries. All the different industries I just listed off, we work with and more. So I think it was a really positive surprise. I also think any young person stepping into the workforce doesn't fully know what to expect or how to genuinely navigate it. So my motto was, and still on some days is, fake it till you make it.
That's mine. No, don't let go of that, Allie. It still works. 30
like,
years in.
These days, yep. No, but I truly feel fortunate to be surrounded by such a supportive team at Sandy Alexander. From my early days to now, I've always been able to lean on experts across every division. People are not only willing to help, but genuinely eager to share their knowledge, answer questions, and offer guidance every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up a good point. Well, I want to talk about mentorship, but so you've kind of alluded to that a little bit, but one of the things that you've also talked about, and we've talked about on Colorbar, but you specifically kind of mentioned to us, we need to have a reverse mentoring program or somehow be able to institute some reverse mentoring across the organization. Talk to us about what that means to you, why you think it's important to not only us mentor, but for you to mentor, probably mentor me more than anything. Yeah.
I think it's just really bridging that gap between our generations. There's a pretty big gap in the print industry. I think we've said that a lot,
Yes.
which isn't bad, but let us teach you things that make everybody's job easier as the young generation, which that would be for us, AI, tech, social media. And then you give us the decades of knowledge so we can keep print going. Because that's where we have to bridge it, is we are the next generation of the print industry. I'm going to teach you how to update your LinkedIn profile and you teach me, all the different substrates and, how our machines work. And that's the stuff we don't know about. And then we can teach you how to improve processes, especially through tech, because we grew up in an age of technology. Computers, iPhones, all of those things we grew up with. I think something else that is important, that our generation is the next generation of print buyers, not just the printers.
Right.
So we know what we want as consumers, which is something completely different from what the older generation has wanted. So let's talk about this. Let's share these things and keep print alive in that aspect. And both sides need to be willing and excited to engage in this partnership. Excited to have that transfer of knowledge, not, I have to work with this new young intern that doesn't know anything. And dang, I got to work with this, grumpy print guy. So both sides need to be excited and willing to have that transfer of knowledge.
Yeah. No, I love whenever I hear from one of the sales reps or something, they're like, oh my God, Allie just boop, 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 just knocked this thing out in no time flat. And I don't even know how she did it, but thank God she knows how to, and thank goodness that she did. So no, we hear that all the time. And one of the things that I've said to Allie so often is that, and that I've told her just the other day, I'm like, I need to embrace the unknown probably more. I'll throw something at Allie and she just figures it out. And oh, and I used some new technology to do it. Now she's using Canva for all of these things. And we threw HubSpot at her, we threw Salesforce at her, we threw all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't remember the last time that I just was like, you know what? I'm going to go teach myself
Something new.
Technology, a new software. And so I know that it's inspired me, but yeah, people recognize pretty quickly what Allie has at her fingertips, just because, to your point, Allie, about how you've grown up and just to welcome technology as part of your day-to-day life that we may not do necessarily all the time.
We don't do it all the time, but to her point, yeah, I mean, that's ingrained in who they are, what they grew up with, and and what was somewhat foreign to us when the iPhone came out or the internet was invented. Yes, I said when the internet was invented. I always date myself on this program.
do.
Yes, I do.
Yep.
But those were all things that we had to adjust and learn to, because it wasn't part of our everyday life. And just to be able to see the technology and try to understand it and then see where it applies, and then you get fresh eyes, with new ideas and fresh eyes, and they come in and it's just to your point, okay, this is a 3-button step. And I would have been staring at it for 45 minutes. But once I know it's a 3-button step, I'm good to go.
Right.
Well, in some aspects, we have, especially coming into the workforce, we have no option but to just figure it out, learn how to do it. Most of the time leadership and, managers, executives don't have time to hold your hand through everything. And you don't want to be the one that's, hey, I got a question. How do you do this? You kind of have to learn how to do it yourself, get it done so you can, move on to the next thing. But you can't always have your, hand held through everything. So for you guys, it's like, oh, I can hand this off to, this Allie. And then for me, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Let me go Google how to do it. Let me watch a YouTube video on how to do it. Let me figure it out. But which honestly is going to make us better in the long run because it's more of a figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah. And I do think, to your point, what you just said, it was like, well, give it to Allie because she'll know how to do it. Like, I think we just assume sometimes that, well, they do know the tech and whatnot.
Right.
But I do think that we've talked about this, that there are misconceptions that we carry about this next generation, whether, about the work ethic and all of that. Talk to us about, I guess from your perspective, how does that feel whenever those misconceptions are out there, and set us straight about the next generation and kind of where you guys see yourself in the workplace?
I would say I love it most of the time because I get to prove people wrong. That's the athlete in me, right? That's
Love
the
that.
athlete in me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll show you then. I'll show you that it's not right and how successful I can be. But I think the two that I would like to hit on probably is one, work ethic. Our generation is not less committed. We're committed differently. So when I say that, I mean, we don't equate burnout with success. We still work incredibly hard, but we want our jobs to support a meaningful, balanced life, not consume it. So, hours logged don't equal success for us, and which I believe the older generation and industries are built on, which is fine. But in our eyes, if we get our work done the right way, why does it matter if it's 6 hours versus 9 or 10 or 11? Some days, but it doesn't make sense. But that is kind of what the corporate environment and the older generations expect. And the misconception with this again is, oh, that's laziness. No, that's sustainability. That's what's going to keep us going day to day.
Yeah, and I would say this too, that at least what I found with you specifically is, to be able to have that flexibility. You work remote, which I would love to talk about that a little bit too, about what that's been like for you, and the importance of being able to have that flexibility. But, there's times where I'm getting emails from Allie at 11 o'clock at night or whatever, just because sometimes that's whenever you do have the downtime and the quiet time to get it done.
Right.
So, and I know that just for me personally, working remote for the last 8 years or something, that it is like you can have those little gaps to go clear your mind. Like I've talked about this, like I go for a walk to the mailbox or I'll go do a load of laundry just to clear my mind, because you don't have that water cooler moment
You don't.
anymore whenever you're at home by yourself. So you have to kind of find those moments. But
True.
yeah, but then
Well, we have
but
water-
I might also be ready to sit down, and I have a inspired moment at 8 o'clock at night, and so I crack the computer back open
Yeah.
and do it. But I see Allie do those same things, and to your point, it doesn't have to be 9 to 5. We were talking to somebody yesterday, and they were saying that their daughter was like, "Who created this 9 to 5 rule? Like,
Right.
it's not a dead set rule that everybody." Now, of course, it's not even 9 to 5 anymore. It's 8 to 5 or whatever it is.
It was a
But
funny movie, and we took it
was-
literally.
Yes, Dolly Parton set us sideways.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
we love Dolly, but no more 9 to 5.
And it's not 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Yeah. But yeah, the work ethic is definitely there, but giving you the flexibility I think is important for you. So talk to us a little bit about working remote and having that flexibility and the importance of that.
Yeah, so I've always been remote. So I worked remote for Bloomin' Brands as well, but I'm in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. So, straight out of college, this is where my college was. So there's no opportunities here at the level that I want it to be at, but I still like where I'm at. So I think it's a very important thing to have in a company, getting rid of all remote, because you're losing out on the opportunity to bring people on your team from, these areas that have the same skill set if we would be in person. Like you said, taking taking that 15 minutes to go for a walk or sit outside with your computer or, doing the dishes for 15 minutes, getting those things done. But it really resets your mind. And when you sit back down at your laptop, you're ready. You're ready to work. You're ready to get these things done. And I've always been a strong believer of I don't want to be in a cubicle, because let me tell you, I was with working through college at one of my jobs, and it was the worst experience of my life. I'm like, I cannot do the cubicle. Like, it's just not where I thrive. And I swear I get more work done when I'm at home than I do when I'm at the office. Or if I go to Clifton, I went to Clifton, or with Outback when I was in, Tampa. I'm like, I don't get any work done because you're constantly having people come by. But no, I think it's been positive for me. I don't know. You can tell me if I get my work done, but I feel like I do, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, a laziness thing, but I think it's genuinely, I would probably never go back in office again just because. And like people say, well, we can't build a culture with people being remote. You absolutely can build a culture with being remote. You can make those connections with your team because you're talking to them all day. So you're making those connections. So yeah.
You've talked about culture before, and you have a very enlightening perspective of it that I would love for you to share with everybody listening about your thoughts around culture.
Yeah, I always say, coming from an athletic background, culture is a system, it's not a vibe. Your values can't change with every new hire or leader. You don't inherit culture, you build it and you live with it. So if a company doesn't have that culture, especially with the Gen Z, we clock that really fast and we pivot really fast when it comes to culture. In my program in college, we were held to an incredibly high standard, but we were also supported at an incredibly high level. So, we were given all those tools to add to our tool belt to make us successful. So when a company isn't giving you those tools, that's when you realize I'm not progressing, I'm not growing. Culture fails when you have one without the other. So the tool belt, but no tools.
The tool belt.
Yeah.
Tool belt and no tools.
Yeah. Well, you talk about progression and development and being supported, and I think that whenever you and I talk, I know I hold myself to a high standard about making sure that I'm giving you those opportunities. But talk a little bit about that when it comes to your expectation when it comes to the company that you're working for or the manager that you're working for, in this instance, me. Like, what are you looking for us to do to help you develop in your career and make sure that you have a really clear line of sight about what your path could look like and giving you all the opportunities that you want?
Making sure the tool belt's filled.
Giving you, filling the tool belt.
Fill the tool belt up, yes.
Yeah, when I talk about tools, I don't just mean resources. I mean everything that actually enables someone to grow and perform at a high level. First, it's clear direction and expectations. You can't succeed if you don't know what winning looks like. And second, it's access to knowledge and mentorship, like we talked about, being able to go to people who have done it before and are willing to teach. Third is opportunity and trust. Give us real responsibility early and let us prove ourselves. That's how you build true confidence and capability, especially in the younger generation. Give us a seat at that table, which, Betsy, I think you've done brilliantly throughout my whole career with Sandy. I don't think there's ever been a moment that you haven't given me a seat at the table or held my hand or not given me the responsibility from day one. And then I think there's feedback. Constant, honest feedback is really important, not just when something goes wrong, but ongoing, so we can actually improve. We have our meetings every week. There's constantly feedback and places we can improve in. For me, when a company combines all of that, and that's when you feel like, okay, I'm not just here working, I'm actually building something and getting better every day.
Yeah, you mentioned something, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on Colorbar, but we attended a Women in Retail event back in the fall, and it was the CEO of Revlon, I believe, and she was talking about giving feedback. When you said feedback, it clicked with me. But I love what she said. She was like, we need to feed forward, not feedback. So feedback is, looking and reflecting on what didn't go well. And she's like, instead, feed forward and talk about the next time that we do this project, or the next time that something comes up like this, how can we approach it differently? I just thought it was a really fun way and a different perspective on how to coach and to continue to lean in and make people not feel like it's always coming from a negative place, but it's coming from a place of progression. So anyway, just a little thought, a little feed forward. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I like feed forward though.
Me too.
I think that's, I mean, because it is, pun intended, it is a forward thinking. So I think that builds more energy and positive energy around either a project or a task or a promotion or, you know, whatever that might be. And honestly, feedback usually is more critical than positive.
That's right.
I mean,
if you think about it,
when you think about it, so usually if you're talking in a forward motion, it is definitely, it's even positioned differently. It's like you said, the next time we do this, so it's more of a learning, if there was learnings that happened, how to apply those and you know, and move the ball forward versus this is what didn't work.
Yeah. And as we're sitting here talking, like I'm thinking I should be better probably with, especially the three of us, like doing a recap of like a project that we've just done and what could we have done better and how could we have made this a smoother process. So yeah, feed forward with me.
We're gonna feed forward
with me too. I still need coaching. No, but like as we're sitting here talking about it, I'm like, we need to be better about that.
I agree.
Of looking back and saying, how can we do this better the next time and learn from it? Also, what can I be doing better?
Well, but I love that, and really liked Allie's point, and you know, I can just speak from my own personal experience. Usually, you know, I don't know if it's just my generation or whatnot, but it was kind of like no news meant like you did a good job. Right? Like it was silence was like a pat on the back. You just didn't feel it, and there was nobody, you know, it was like the tree fell in the woods. Well, no one else was around. Did I do a good job? No one said anything.
Right.
And that was like even early on in my career, it was just like, well, did I do a good job? And they were like, well, did someone tell you you didn't? And I was like, no one said a word. Well, then you did fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily instill a lot of confidence or energy. So I really like the idea of having that mind shift, being very positive and very forward.
Yeah, but you have to be cognizant of it.
Yeah.
I think just recently we won an RFP or something, and I knew Allie had put a ton of time into it. So it was like making sure that I'm communicating to Allie, like, you helped us succeed, or this campaign was really great, or whatever it is. Like the sales reps gave great feedback and are appreciative of what you do, and I'm trying to be cognizant of making sure that you know, I'm giving that feed forward.
Feed forward. It goes a long way.
Giving those recommendations. So it makes me also think about another question that I had coming into today was, what I had written was beyond the paycheck and different ways of compensation, or different ways of feeling purposeful and feeling compensated for what you're doing. And I know, or at least I feel like, it does go way beyond just the paycheck. I would love to hear from you, Allie, about what that means for you and other ways that companies should be thinking about showing value into you beyond just your, you know, monthly paycheck.
Yeah, I think one is that is overlooked by, I think, every company is work-life balance. And this is something that's extremely important to the Gen Z. When we talk about compensation, I think the biggest shift with the younger generation is that it's not just about the paycheck anymore. It's about sustainability. Can I build a career here and have a life? Work-life balance matters because burnout is real, especially in an industry like print that's fast-paced, deadline-driven, and constantly evolving. We want to bring our best ideas, you know, energy and creativity to work, but that only happens when there's space to recharge. And I think, you know, we've talked about it a lot, Betsy. You're like, I I need a reset, but I just can't get it. And it goes both ways, right? Leadership needs to take that reset as well as, everyone else. Like, you need to recharge so you do not burn out and you can put out your best work.
Yeah.
And then also culture is a big one. Like we said, for Gen Z, culture is huge. I don't want to be at a place that has zero culture. And that might just be me as, like I said, like an athlete, because culture is so important to us. But culture is super important. And also having a seat at the table, being treated as an equal and trusted to contribute regardless of title or age. When the work feels meaningful and I'm exposed to real conversations around decision making, it creates ownership for me. I'm not just executing tasks, checking off a list, I'm helping shape outcomes. And I think on the flip side, disengagement happens quickly when voices aren't heard. When work feels transactional almost. When I don't understand the why, and I think this is probably for everyone, or feel disconnected from impact, it's hard to stay fully invested. Train us like you would leave for a month and trust us to step into your role and not feel like Sandy Alexander would burn down.
Yeah.
I generally feel like I've been at the forefront with you, Betsy, since day one, sometimes in the trenches. But that's made all the difference. So yeah, give us a seat at the table and have our voices heard, no matter if we're here for a year or if we're here for 10 years. I don't think it should matter.
Yeah, and I have to say thank you to you, because you and I have had this conversation about Betsy's gone for a month, don't let the place keep going, and I think about that, and so I've really, hopefully you see it, probably now, maybe I said something to somebody the other day, I'm like, maybe I'm delegating too much now, but like I really have been cognizant about, do you have to do this, or is this something that Allie could do, or Kim could do, or Logan could do, or and really and giving it and letting it go and just letting you guys own it. Like, we're going through a big campaign right now, and you guys are running it. Like, occasionally I'll get an email like, okay, Bets, like I need you to pay attention to this.
That's right.
And I need
Read
you to
this
like
one.
I need you to read this one.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, like, it's a game changer for me too, and I'm hoping it's given you an opportunity to go, you know what, like I've got this, and Betsy trusts me with it, and so that hopefully makes you, feel more empowered and feel like you're playing a really significant role, which you are, in making sure that we're successful. So anyway, I just appreciate you saying it, because it's made me stop and honestly reflect at the end of the day and looking at tasks that I have and saying, where's an opportunity to give somebody an opportunity to step up. So.
Yeah, and when we're right next to you and those conversations are being had and those decisions are being made, we almost learn your brain. So now when people
Lord.
come to me,
Sorry for that.
Or they send me something, I'm like, yeah, this is what Betsy would want, or this is what Betsy hates, for sure. So it's very easy.
It's hysterical. You did this the other day. You were like, and me, like, again, my brain was everywhere, and I was like, all I know is I don't like it, but my brain is not working to put words to what I don't like. And Allie was like, Betsy, just go. Like, I got you. Like, I got this. And sure enough, we came back the next week, and I was like, yep, this is exactly what I wanted. But I just didn't have the words.
Right.
I didn't have the words that day. And yeah, so luckily, Allie evidently knows my brain well enough to know what the expectation was, and totally did it and ran with it. So anyway. So it's
well,
good.
And that's what you want at the end of the day, right? You want to step into your role once you're no longer here and make the decisions you would be making to keep making our company successful. So you almost want us to transform into you, as weird as that sounds, but step
into better than me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Try to do better than me.
And a lot better. Yeah, would be the hope.
Like I always say, though, I'm like, I want to be Betsy when I grow up. That's what I
well, that is super sweet. And listen, and I've said back to you, you're going to be me and so much more. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, actually. Yeah. So don't forget about the little people like me whenever you become a big shot. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Do you think she'll take our call?
You better take my call. You better take my call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One, I guess maybe I'm probably blushing a little bit, but Yeah, you've talked about having a seat at the table, and we've talked about that before. And I think it's scary sometimes for leadership. We've talked about this, that we don't want to overshare, so you feel like you're having to also carry the burden.
Right.
But we also want to give you that visibility so you do understand the why, as you've just mentioned. And so really understanding how to balance that is something that I think we as leaders struggle with, but that we also, again, need to be very cognizant of to give you guys that seat at the table and to make you feel like you're a part of the why and a part of the solution.
Well, yeah, because that does build value and ownership, which is and helps, with growth.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
and
I get I get the balance part, as far as, okay, we don't want them burden them, but they're in understanding, that line. But I do think, though, the more that you understand a why, no matter what stage you are, honestly, in your career, but if you understand the why and you are able, I think everybody feels valued when they get to make a contribution and they get to own something. And sometimes that gets put aside, and it should really be one of the forward things that we're really cognizant of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're just looking for our leadership to be authentic about it. Gen Z has a pretty low tolerance for anything that feels fake or stagnant. We care about purpose, but not in like a cliche way. We just want to know that what we're doing actually matters. And if it feels like busy work or there's no bigger picture, it's hard to stay invested. Growth is a non-negotiable for me. If I'm not learning and not being challenged or not moving forward, and the Gen Z, especially from what I've seen, all these TikTok, they're not like they're thinking about what's next if a company doesn't give this to them. This generation isn't afraid to leave if we feel stuck, which I think is something that's completely different from the older generation. And honestly, like I said, authenticity is everything. If a company talks about culture, values, or, development, growth, but doesn't actually live it day to day, they pick up on that really fast, and that's when we mentally check out. I think we also expect a level of trust and flexibility, not being micromanaged, being treated like we're capable. That goes a long way. The authentic, like trusting us to do the job, like we said. So, at the end of the day, if a company invests in us, challenges us, and actually practices what it preaches, we go all in. And that's what I'm at Sandy. I'm like, yes, this is where I want to be. So I'm here to do everything I can to make this company successful in the way I can.
Yeah. What do you think we could do better from a recruitment perspective, or finding 7 more Allie Watts to bring, because you really do level us up, and and we've talked a lot on Colorbar even just lately about building a legacy, and like we need to be really aware of we're not going to be here, and we want this industry to continue and to thrive in a whole new, like Frances said, this is just the beginning, not the end. But in order for that to be the case, we have to have more Allie Watts surrounding us. So what are your thoughts about that from a recruiting, and to your point, you didn't even see this coming and have really enjoyed it. We need to evangelize that a little bit more.
So yeah, how I ended up here was you guys were working with Outback on our menus, and I was on with Bruce, and he was like, what are you doing after like your internship? I'm like, well, I'm looking for a job. That's what I'm doing. And it was big. But honestly, through connections, I think social media is huge. That's where you're going to find our generation. That's where we live every day, is social media, unfortunately, but that is where we live every day. So I think even just doing this podcast and, getting our name, they're like, wow, like this company is innovating. They're doing things that are different, showing the cool projects we do. At the end of the day, it's just a print shop, but the things that come off the presses are the things that make us different as a company, and I think would attract this younger talent and the amazing brands we're working with. So really showcasing that to the, in recruiting to the younger generation, I think is super important.
Yeah. What would be a final takeaway for the people that are listening, that are trying to figure this out or trying to find their Allie Watt? Any final thoughts to the others that are out watching and trying to learn how to do this better?
Yeah, I think something that stuck with me from when it happened is when we were in Orlando, Betsy, and we were on our way back from dinner in the car.
Yeah.
And it kind of caught me by surprise because you don't expect this from executives and leaders, especially just in the corporate environment in general, is the conversation we had. You asked me 3 questions. Are you feeling fulfilled? Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? And what more do you want to learn? And that means a lot because you actually took the time out of your day to ask those questions. And I think every executive and leader and manager needs to take the time out of their day to acknowledge, 1, the younger generation, and 2, show that you're invested in them and their growth.
That's awesome. I remember that conversation vividly, and now, like, even just the recent conversation that we had where you were like, I'm ready to take on a new challenge and be pushed out of my comfort zone, and those are the things that make you feel fulfilled and
always
make you see what the possibility is. So glad we had that conversation a couple of years ago, and that we've continued to lean in on that, and we're going to continue to do that for you and for us and for me. So
Yes.
yeah, I love this.
Thank
You so much. Well, you know how much we love you, but
Yes.
now everybody knows the famous Allie Watt.
Everybody knows the fame. Yes.
Kim, any final thoughts from you?
No, I just, I love having this conversation. We've had it, from a couple of different directions.
Yes.
With some different guests. I think have been in this industry, as long as I have. I'm actually very excited about these conversations with the embracing of technology, and really feel like this is a moment where we're going to pivot, and there's going to be a very exciting energy that comes out of new talent, working with younger generations, and really embracing them as part of our future, not just somebody who works with us or for us, but works beside us and moves us forward. And I think being pushed a little bit is always a good thing. And so I'm super excited, and I hope we continue to keep this as a topic, because it's not like a one and done thing. I mean, this is a culture building part of who we are. To quote Allie, it's part of our process, it's moving us forward and who we want to be when we grow up, right?
Yes.
I'm not there yet. Evidently, I've dated myself 500 times, but the maturity level will catch up at some point. But no, Allie, and this has been great conversation. You are just fantastic to work with. Just love your energy, love your ideas. Glad we get to work together as a team. Really am. It's fun.
Yeah, it's been special, and for anybody that's not doing it, start quickly, because there is just this, I say this all the time, level us up.
Yep.
This is what's happening, and it's the future. Again, this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
Just the beginning, not the end. Allie, we'll see you tomorrow on our weekly call.
See you guys
tomorrow.
Thanks everybody for watching Colorbar, and we will see you again soon.